Listeners, this is Amy. Dor asked me to do something today. He wants me to sum things up. Sum it up, he said. Sum up this first month. It's going to be a little tricky, but hear us out. All right, listen, guys. Let's cut the bullshit. This is the podcast to listen to, not if you're looking for hard-hitting facts, not if you want to hear some experts talk about stuff. What happened in the first 20 episodes? Extemporaneous ranting. We sing, we nervously laugh, cry, hold back tears, get really angry, despondent, kids playing on the street, air raid sirens, ask bigger questions like, are we the bad guys here? What else have we done? Is our twists and turns, where logic and heart don't really seem to coincide anymore. It's really wild times. It's like yourself, Rick and Morty season 1, like 1 line.
Wait, I stop you?
Oh my God, that's exactly what you're supposed to do with me. I'm like a kite that goes like really high and then you just need to like pull the string down to earth over and over again. That's who I am.
Perfect. So, back to my story. I'm going to sleep.
Wait, is your last name
Comet.
It's Comet? Like
Comet,
like a comet?
Like a comet.
Wow. You're going to edit this, right? Because it sounds ridiculous. I mean, we just met yesterday and I saw your last name in Hebrew and I was like, it's comet? Really? Like a comet? Where does that come from?
From outer space.
You are a bit of an alien.
My family is from the moon.
We live in a beautiful neighborhood in South Tel Aviv called Shapira, which I like to call Shapira. It's a beautiful kind of 3 to 4 floor zoned neighborhood, residential. The most ethnically diverse neighborhood in Tel Aviv, and our friends who have a shelter at home generously have invited us and other neighbors to come over and spend the day there, and we sat across from each other, which is where we met.
Beautiful.
Yeah, super beautiful, actually. This kind of like light in the midst of the chaos and the darkness. If 2,000 terrorists came into the States, it would be crazy. If on 9/11, some of the first responders were actually jihadists and they kidnapped people and they brought them back into New Jersey and then they started firing rockets at Manhattan and then part of Manhattan had to volunteer and mobilize and get their shit together and be soldiers and then go into this war and then show people the evidence, but then people in Canada and Toronto were telling them that they were full of shit and that they didn't know what they were talking about, you guys would be losing your fucking minds.
Ooh. I think I will put now a sound of drop the mic.
Wow. There's so many things I want to talk about. Where do you begin when there's so many things that you want to talk about? I want to talk about everything from like the Enlightenment and Voltaire being an anti-Semite and how like the Enlightenment was also this age of enlightenment, but also that we have all these like new age people reaching enlightenment and in the process posting equivocal bullshit about what's going on here and just, this kind of love and light supremacy that we're seeing in the new age space on Instagram, a complete inability to condemn the horrifying massacre. Maybe we're going to be the ones that come to the rescue on behalf of liberals in America who, as an American Jewish liberal as well, I think that we've been too meek. What is this future that people are working towards? You can destroy and rant and fucking wah, and wish for that like restart button and wish for the whole thing to collapse. But what comes after that? What is that world? What is that future? Because that requires a creative impulse. That requires an imagination. That requires not only understanding where we are, but where are we going? Where do we want to even go? And I would love to know. I would love to know where people see this going, because we're not going anywhere, Jews. We're not going to let ourselves be fucking wiped off the face of the planet. And this is only driving home for anybody who's like, we're going to, justify the death of Jews and non-Jewish Israelis as a way of liberating another movement. Here's what it's doing on the ground. It's actually fueling Jewish paranoia about anti-Semitism. It's ostracizing communities. It's breaking down ties and collaborations and partnerships that have been growing and thriving for decades and centuries, it's putting up bigger walls. It's making sure that contributions will not be happening. I mean, I think it's one of the weirdest ironies that a bunch of people that are like dropping acid and like, out there, like, celebrating Jewish death, like, who the fuck do you think invented LSD? It was a Jewish guy named Albert Hofmann. Like, enough.
I don't care. I didn't watch news like forever. And yesterday, me and friends and a lot of people just sit and watch Biden live speak on the TV. And I waited like it was a concert. They said like in 8 o'clock, he gonna start the concert. And in 9:30, he come to the stage. It felt like Tame Impala concert. I swear in God, like energy in the fucking air. And yes, he said like good stuff, and it was really like heroic and very looked like a scene from, I don't know, really cheap movie of Vin Diesel or something. But it was a bit exciting, like, whoa, America is in the house, we are not alone, like it's gonna be all right. He said in the end of the speech, like, if someone from our neighbors here want to start a war, I tell you, don't. And we're like, and we're there, with our beers, like, whoo! And it feels like, motherfucking America is in the fucking house. Woo!
I have a hunch that those terrorists that came in, including the ones that raped and tortured and beheaded people with garden hose and burned babies alive, that they were on this substance. Apparently, Syria is one of the biggest producers and exporters of Captagon. And it's not only that it's one of the biggest exporters of it, it's one of Syria's biggest exports. In January of this year, we intercepted an illegal shipment of Captagon from the West Bank to Gaza, where the pills were hidden in the doors of refrigerators. So if we intercepted one shipment, I can only imagine that other shipments have already gone through or went through since. And then the question is, how many people are on this substance? How long were they on this substance for?
On the one hand, sound crazy. On the other hand, I would love to try that.
What?
There is an Hebrew saying, I don't know if it's work in English, I will say it in Hebrew and you will translate.
One line at a time, please, Dor.
Okay. אין ילדים רעים, יש ילדים שרע להם.
There aren't any bad kids, they're just like kids that are going through bad things.
So, אין סמים רעים, יש סמים שרע להם.
So, there aren't any bad drugs, they're just drugs that bad things happen to? I don't know. It's like you can't, if you're a woman, you cannot show your nipples on Facebook or Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I don't use Twitter. But you can write crazy, hateful is an understatement. You can write shit calling for the genocide of people and someone else could report it, like I've reported. And then I got back these messages today that were like, thank you so much for reaching out to us. We checked, we took a look at your request and we're going to respectfully decline because those comments are in line with our community standards. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, my nipples aren't in line with community standards, but calling for women to be raped, tortured, and killed are in line with the community standards. And if those are the community standards, like, what? Like, seriously, what? I am just like, and that's just like a tiny little footnote of many of the thoughts going through my head today. And it's not like the first time, but it's just like, didn't we already do this whole thing where like Mark Zuckerberg was like interrogated in front of the Senate or the House? And then they were like, we're going to do a better job at moderating. Like, we were involved in like the slaughter of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. And like, we did a shitty job moderating. And they have like, there's like a fucking Facebook like R&D site. Like they're fucking Israelis working for Facebook and they can't moderate this shit. Like, and I imagine those people are called up to reserve duty. So like, where is the loyalty of a company that is employing so many Israelis? Like, what is going on?
Okay, you believe in God, but why like you need to say like Allahu Akbar 1,000 times and like kill a lot of people? Like, what is the connection? Like literally, I see those Instagram photos like, are you fucking stupid? Like, what the fuck? Is that okay to say? No, huh? Like Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
It does not just mean God is, it means God is great.
Yeah, but why you need to say it like 1,000 times? During you taking a mader,
a garden hoe.
A garden hoe, and you fucking cut a head of Jewish person. Actually, as a non-religious people, try to understand the like, okay, I'm like really into the Brian Johnston massacre music, but do I go in the street and say, Anton is great, everybody know Anton is great? No. Can you explain me religious people?
Okay, but right before we get to that question, shout out to Anton Newcomb for his, I guess it was a tweet today. If you think the Jews are the problem, you better pray to God that you never, ever piss me off. Understood? ?
Woo!
Big ups to Anton.
Wow.
Jews and Israelis in Israel, around the world, are not in agreement on anything. And they're not in agreement on bagels, and they're not in agreement on this war, and they're not in agreement about the government, and we're just not in agreement. And then other people abroad are like, ooh, look at that Jew. He said this, that he must be right. And I'm like, at first it was like, oh my God, the audacity of even doing that like stand-in thing where you're just like, well, I'm a Jew and this is what I say and I have authority. But it's like, oh my God, fuck yeah, we have diversity of opinion. That's amazing. We feel free to speak our mind and ask questions. We're the people of the book. We ask questions. We argue. We argue with God. Israel means he argued with God or something.
Really? Is that what it means?
Wait a second, let me get this right. So first we went through freedom of speech, then we went to freedom from speech, and now we're going to freedom of speech for hate speech. Like, we're trying to advocate, like people are trying to advocate for the right to march through and say, burn the Jews, gas the Jews, and like these harrowing mobs. Free speech is great, but it requires counter speech to be super effective. And what's troubling about what's going on campuses is it's not just free speech. It's intimidation. It's harassment. It's bullying. It's pulling at flags. It's hitting Jewish students with flags and screaming at them and calling for them to be gassed. That's not free speech. That's intimidation. Those are bullying tactics. You remember bullies at school, Dor?
Of course I do. Shout out to Rotem. I heard you are big shot in high tech now, but I know who you really are.
I used to walk around with a Star of David when I was younger, but in the past 10, 15 years, even if I'd wanted to do that, like that's not patriotism, but like wearing the symbol, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wear a Star of David anymore. And I got to the point where I just kind of accepted that in the world, there's people that don't like us, or that I'll just, avoid certain behavior to like make sure that I stay safe. And then someone here called me out on it years ago, and they were like, why are you accepting that kind of a bullshit reality? Like, people can walk around with crosses. It would be absurd to think that someone should be afraid of walking around with a fucking cross or with a hijab or something. So why are you accepting a reality in which you're afraid to walk around with a Star of David? That's an unacceptable situation to find yourself in. And now, not being as much of a Jewish American, but more of like an Israeli American Jew, I was reflecting on it today that it's like, I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm not like, oh man, I missed the signs to get out of here in time. I'm like, fuck it. No one's gonna I'm not gonna make myself small anymore or like take up less space. Like, wasn't that the whole fucking point of this like feminism and like becoming a stronger woman? Like, so that I could like get in touch with these parts of myself and like not have an eating disorder and make myself smaller, not like, overcompensate and people please, like really get in touch with who I am as a woman. And now it's like these movements that help bring me here, that it doesn't matter what she wore. Under no circumstances is it acceptable for a woman to be raped. And we believe her even when there's no evidence. And now those currents have completely flipped on their head because we're faced with a rape sentence for Jewish Israeli women, essentially, and for non-Jewish Israelis women that are here. A rape sentence, I'll call it, like a death sentence, that it doesn't matter how good you are, that you deserve that kind of ending. And so maybe the gloves need to come off, because I'm not a punching bag and none of my sisters are punching bags and none of us are going to be punching bags. And whatever's going on right now with the name calling and all this shit, I'm not going to just sit here in a corner and cry and have panic attacks. Like, I'm done. Like, let's do it. Like MMA style. Let's get in the ring. Because a lot of people are like doing this pacifist shtick right now. And I wish I had the luxury of just being like, absolutely no war. But there are like actual bad actors going on right now. And I think that it's time to just like kind of boop, boop, like ostrich, like pull the head back out of the sand and just like assess that we're in a crazy situation. And like the lack of condemnation, as infuriating as it is, it's like, thank you so much for making yourselves publicly known, because now we know who our friends are and who like our enemies are. It's just like easier for us to proceed from here. You know what I mean? That's the problem with identity politics. There's still no room for an identity like mine.
I don't think that I understand better the term identity politic. My question is like, who am I,
Well, who do you want to be?
What is my identity?
On some level, I kind of envy you, Dor,
Tell me more.
It's this feeling of always feeling like you're outside, looking in, and never really allowed to have a seat at the table. But when you're from one place, and your parents are from that place, and your grandparents are from that place, and there's this continuity, I can get that you're probably like, oh my God, it's probably better abroad. And I totally respect that. And I've also still have those questions that come to mind. I guess I envy that sense of continuity that provides a sense of stability. And it also gives you an authority from other people. And you have to, I guess, fight. You have to work less to get a seat at the table when you have that continuity. And when you do speak up, people listen to what you have to say instead of saying, oh, no, you don't get it. Oh, no, you're not from here. Oh, no, you don't understand. And frankly, I'm tired,
Yeah, now fade out and we can go crazy.
I think that my role here in this podcast, I'm looking at the both of you, Dor and Amy. I feel like Dor has all the escapism covered. Right? Rock and roll, music, high-end coffee, the best places in Tel Aviv. This is the drugs we're going to do. He's the one telling our listeners that life goes on and we are able to compartmentalize in Israel and live our life. True?
Exclamation
Exclamation point.
Exclamation mark?
Exclamation point.
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation point.
Exclamation
Yeah, you guys
mark.
have exclamation mark.
I confused you.
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation.
Exclamation.
Exclamation
EXCLAMATION. Exclamation.
This is the most psychedelic part of the episode. And I feel like now that I know you a little bit, you know your shit. You're a serious person. You are in the world of journalism and activism. You know a lot of people. You've got your finger on the zeitgeist in relation to the war and to the ongoing conflict and to the discourse surrounding Israel in general on a high level, academic, political, journalistic level. So I feel like when I come in, maybe I can be a counterpart to you for that. I feel like he gets bored if you talk too much politics, right? You can talk politics with me. We can get deep into history and politics that maybe Dor will zone out of that stuff. And maybe... I can't stop thinking of the poor people hunted down by these monsters, these cannibals, these, attackers, and the horrible, unspeakable, unbelievable things that they did to people in the world, in our country, 45 minutes from here in the year 2023. I can't stop thinking about that because of the horrible things that we know happened on October 7th. I thought maybe this is something we'll talk about today, about dreams. I've been having this dream of just shoot me in the head. It seems it's such a relief to just die and not go through the horrible, horrible things that I keep, seeing and hearing and looking at people recounting what happened on that day, the unbelievable violence and everything. I don't want to say the words anymore. I feel like we've said them enough. But I had this dream where I'm held by the Hamas. My hands are tied, and it's just a question of who's going to kill me, when, and what horrible thing are they going to do to me. And then in my dreams, there's the Hamas lady. What did they call them? Liberty, whatever. Terrorist. And I beg her to just shoot me in the head. Please, 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 please just shoot me in the head. And then I get on my knees in the dream. And she says, it's okay, I'm going to take care of you. We're going to do it quickly. You won't feel anything. She holds the gun to my head and she clicks it and something doesn't work. She says, oh shit, I'm sorry. We're going to try again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I woke up. Amy, I understand you've canceled my segment, my update segment. Is this because I was a bad update correspondent? And you're passively, aggressively, you just canceled me? Or is there another reason? Why is there no more booby update?
Okay, first of all, I do not have exclusive final say on stuff here. It's a we operation.
Okay, Dor and Amy.
Yeah.
You canceled me, Dor.
In a way.
In a way. You stabbed me in the back. I thought you were
none
my
of
friend.
us, listen, none of us are responsible. This is not the time to talk about responsibility.
Emotionally raw coverage.
One day, I don't know when, but we're going to turn over all the stones and we're going to find whoever's responsible.
Yes, Vadat Hakira.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole, investigations committee.
That's what the politicians are saying. Let's win the war and then figure out who made the mess.
Bibi Netanyahu, Gantz, Gallant, they gave that press conference last night and they were like, we went in. If there was any doubt about what happened Friday night, here we are to formally say ground invasion started.
Why do you have to be an really angry 60 years old gray hair dude that say why you can be just a nice gentleman? Why you must be so, how do you say zoef, cranky?
Yeah, he's crabby. He's like, I don't know. His vibe is like,
we're going in.
but he has that like smirk on his face when he talks. Like he pisses me off. And then like everyone, every senior leader, every director of anything in this country, like for the past few weeks has been like, I take responsibility. No, I take responsibility. I take responsibility for the omissions here. I take responsibilities for the deaths. And this guy's just like,
I wanted to declare something, like to give a statement. Maybe I don't have gray hair. I can do declare. It's called declare.
It depends on what you're about to say.
I want to have a statement. The nation of Israel. New York people who listen to me right now.
They're not just in New York. There's people listening in Colorado, California, Mexico.
U.S. people, listen to me.
Also Canada.
I told Amy, I will give myself like my time, my quote-unquote talent.
Amazing editing skills, production, co-hosting, everything. Mm-hmm.
Till episode 50.
50.
So, till 50, we need to get funding. I will begin with $1 for an episode. This is I can live forever, okay?
I don't think you should tell them what that's going to become our new maximum. You know what I mean?
I will do a beep.
Okay, but what are we doing? Okay, I have an idea.
Anything. You know some Jewish, extremely rich, call him. Give him send him a link. People in a network, in podcast network, send him the fucking podcast. We need help.
Also, if you have a company or a product, we would love to be your advertisers, potentially, depending on what you're selling, and promo codes, affiliate links,
Exactly.
We are open for business. We are open for opportunities.
And we can also do another podcast.
Yeah.
Just for you, a special podcast.
Totally.
In every subject.
We'll talk about anything you want.
You don't know how much podcast I edit in my life. It could be in any fucking topic, from Torah.
From a what?
Torah.
From the Torah. I thought you were saying toilet.
From toilet to Torah to I don't know.
There's a lot of fetishization that happens about these glorious times that preceded us, and we need to go back to these idyllic times, which is preposterous in my opinion. I don't want to go back to any time. It would be fun to be burning my bra at Woodstock in the 60s. That would be a really fun time. I'd love to go back for a second and Back to the Future's DeLorean and experience that. But I think releasing from that fantasy is critical for humanity to actually encounter the present and move into the future. And we need to, my opinion, wake up and smell the reality of nothing is new. The dark forces, the creative forces, it's all here. It's always been here. The time now is to educate ourselves, to really think critically, to feel each other, to be kinder, to be more loving. If this really is the end of days, I don't want my last days to be just harrowing and nightmarish. I'm going to keep smiling at strangers on the street, and I'm going to keep hugging people, and I'm going to keep making weird jokes to break up tension, and I'm going to love harder, not less. And I'm not going to go into the great night dark and defeated and deprived of humanity, because frankly, I don't think that, as unprecedented as all this is, the emotional maelstrom isn't new. It's not new at all. And that allows me to connect to humanity across time. And it allows me to connect to 90-year-olds that are living through this right now, and 2-year-olds that are living through this, and neighbors that come from different places, because we are a lot more similar than anyone else would have us think.
Wow. Give me 10% of your romantic perspective on the world, and I'm like, Janusz fucking Korczak.
And maybe hope this whole thing, I hope it'll be better. It kind of keeps you where you are, hoping that something will change. But I don't need to hope that something's going to change. I know that things are changing all the time. Impermanence is the thing. Like, change is the constant. I'm actually comforted by that now, that everything can flip in an instant. It's also, if you think about it, a little bit empowering that we can decide that, yes, you know, I don't want to get into free will. That's like a whole box within a dream within a box. But if that makes, I don't know, does that make sense? It's like,
I can relate that you don't want to hold on hope. And also, I think the national anthem, it sucks. And also, they stole the melody.
Where'd they steal it from?
It was like Shir Am.
I was like a national folk song?
From east of Europe or something.
Frânge electricitate, căi ferate și vapor.
Do you think people are going to listen to the beginning of the episode if it was so unfocused? Do you think they're going to make it to the end?
The one who stayed till now, מי שהגיע עד לפה, לבריאות. מי שלא, she's dead. Can you translate it?
Yeah, this far, 1 second. I also wanted to say that all these people that think that they're like gonna get rid of like this feeling that Jews have that like people hate us, like that feeling is stronger than ever now. Like that's literally what this is leading to. You know what I mean?
No, but I'm with you.
I love you. Whoever made it this far is a winner, and we appreciate you big time. And anyone that didn't make it, well, I guess 𝕊𝔸𝔽𝔼𝔻.
Amen.
Amen.
Let's sing.
I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you're set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way. Baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way.
Born this way.
Ooh, there ain't no other way. Baby, I was born this way. On the right track, baby, I was born this way.
Credits.
Thanks to Shema, Jonathan Gall, Maya Schlesinger, Dor Comet. I couldn't ask for a better co-host than you. Co-producer, I'm Amy Sapan. Thanks so much for listening. Stay safe and stay tuned.